There are a few components which are treated as single unit when they are part of a compound character. I won't go over every exception, but I will leave a link in the description if you want to see more examples. Some of these exceptions appear in both version 3 and 5, or only in one version, so check which particular version you are using. Version 3 is most common on Windows. So this component is treated as a single unit when part of a compound character. So in the character hey, we take the first and last radical of the first unit, then the first and last radical of the second unit. Something to be careful of is that sometimes characters have variants and may render differently depending on which font is being used. So these two are variants of the same character, and these two are also variants of the same character. As a single unit character, our code is derived from this version of the character, but in a compound character, the code is derived from this version of the character. So in the character mo, we take the first radical and the last radical. Then we take the first and last radical of the second unit. There are also a few exception characters that always have a shortened code, whether they appear as an independent character or as part of a compound character. So moon is always decomposed as yat gong. This is a common radical that can appear on both the left or right side of a compound character, and it is always decomposed as gong zhong. So in the character dou, this is 2 units. Take the first and last radical of the first unit, first, last of the second unit. Another example, this component, which appears in the character gay, is always decomposed as noi guo. And this component is always decomposed as yan tou. There are a few characters that are composed of the characters mok, fo, dai, chat, with other components in the center. In these cases, we ignore the rule of maintaining distinct sections and type these characters first, then the components on top. So for the character loi, we type the mok first, then the 2 yan. And in the character dong, we type mok first, then tin. In the character kun, we have an elongated fo, and then the auxiliary shape associated with sao. So we type fo, sao, sao. For song, we type the elongated dai, and then the 4 crosses. For tun, we type the elongated chat, and then the middle component. The X key is used for components that cannot be represented by the radicals or auxiliary shapes. So here are a few examples. So the shapes that are highlighted in light blue are represented by the X or nan key. So to type sun, you type jok, nan jok. To type heng, you type guo, nan soi. The Z key is used to type special symbols such as Chinese pronunciation marks. These are a few example codes, and if you want to see a complete chart, there will be a link in the description. But there's also a faster way to type Chinese punctuation on Windows. You can either type tick or control followed by the equivalent punctuation mark. So if I type a tick and a period, it gives me a list, and I can press space to get a Chinese punctuation mark. Or I can type control and a comma to get a Chinese comma. You can use the star key in place of any unknown radical when typing. For example, with the character heng that we just mentioned, you might guess that it starts with this radical and ends with this radical, but you might not know how to decompose anything in the middle. In that case, you can type guo, star, soi, space, and then you'll get a list of all characters that start and end with these 2 radicals. Then you can scroll down and find the character you're looking for, in this case heng, and it tells you exactly what the correct code should be. Another way you can use it is type the first 2 radicals of a character, then star, then space, and it will give you a list of all characters that start with these 2 radicals. For today's practice, try typing out these sentences using Cangjie. If you can't figure out how to type a character, then you can look it up in a dictionary. Once you're finished, then try to find your own sentences to practice with. This will be my last video for this tutorial series, but if you want me to make more videos explaining anything specific, feel free to make suggestions. Thanks for watching.